Hi there, Adam Loveridge again with Rent-Owned Homes Utah. Hopefully you caught my last video about where to find motivated sellers that could be just phenomenal lease option candidates or people that might be willing to consider a rent-own or some sort of owner financing situation. Well, today what I'd like to share with you is how you can actually pre-qualify these sellers so that you don't waste your time going out and spinning your wheels trying to get somewhere, because legitimately some people just are going to be landlords. They don't want to sell their house. They bought the house for cash flow reasons. So what you want to try to do if you're interested in, say, lease optioning a property or renting to own a property from one of these landlord types is you need to find out if they meet a couple criteria. Okay, and the easiest way to do this, I found, is by basically asking just two simple questions. So let me kind of take you through a scenario here. Let's say that I'm going out and I'm going to look to find a rent-to-own home. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is open up, say, KSL.com or go to Craigslist.com and go in the for rent section of homes for rent. I'm going to try to find some homes that look appealing to me, or at least in the area that I would want to live in. So once I've found those houses, I'm going to pick up the phone and start calling. And what you kind of want to do when you start speaking with these people, these landlords in particular, is find out initially, just kind of warm them up a little bit or break the ice. So you really want to ask the same questions that you'd ordinarily ask when you're calling, say, for a rental situation. Maybe what year was the house built, and how soon is it available, and this and that. And then what you want to do is kind of come to, what I call really the two qualifying questions. Okay, now the first one is this, and that is what you need to know is, are they willing to consider a long-term lease? Okay, so the question that I'll just ask a landlord directly is, are you willing to consider a lease of a longer-term lease of, say, 2 to 3 years? So let's write that up here. So are you willing to consider a lease of, say, 2 to 3 years, a long-term lease of 2 to 3 years? Now, right there, that landlord's basically going to tell you whether or not they're willing to consider a long-term tenant. Now, most landlords are at least going to be agreeable to this, simply because the truth is that landlording can be an incredibly crappy business to be in. The bottom line is, what we all want as landlords, for those of us that own property, is to have some good quality tenants in our property that are going to give the property back in the same condition that it was given up. Okay, so oftentimes what will happen, though, in a long-term lease situation is that people just get a little negligent with the house and everything else. So it's kind of that catch-22 that landlords will often look at. But the bottom line is that most landlords would prefer to do a long-term lease. And if you're in a situation where you're going to need maybe 2 or 3 years to get financing, well, obviously the first thing you need to understand is this homeowner willing to structure the term of my lease option congruent with how long it's going to take me to get financing? Does that make sense? Excellent. So the next thing that you need to ask then is, are you willing to sell the house? Okay? Will you sell? And now the way I like to pose this to landlords is, after I've already asked them about are you willing to consider a long-term lease of maybe 2 to 3 years, would you be willing to let me buy the property at some point during that 2 to 3 year period? And just sit back and listen to what they have to say about it. They may have some concerns, they may not, they may just say, yeah, I think I'd be willing to do that. And then if they do say, yes, I'd be willing to do that, then the next thing that you might want to understand, since you're calling landlords and they're probably not, publishing a price per se, is like a home price, $200,000 or something, obviously the next question then would probably be, okay, well, what would you sell me the house for? Does that make sense? So that's kind of the real quick way to pre-qualify a landlord as a potential lease option seller, for your property. So hopefully this has been good information. My name's Adam Loveridge with Rent-Owned Homes Utah. And by the way, if you do have any questions or things along these lines that you wouldn't mind seeing a great little video blog done up of, by all means submit those or just put your comments in below, and we'd love to hear from you. Again, Adam Loveridge, Rent-Owned Homes Utah, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.